Revealed, the 33 miraculous steps to divine enlightenment. Jesus prophesied for your transformation. In the heart of a quaint English village, where the sun-dappled cobblestones glimmered with the whispers of the past, Agnes Peters felt the pulse of faith at the center of her home. It was a cool autumn evening, and the warmth of her family's humble living room cradled them as they prepared to pray to St. Jude. The golden glow of flickering candles danced like heavenly spirits. Agnes, at 52, was an unwavering beacon of light, her faith as solid as the ancient stone walls of their church. She held her family, her husband and her only son, David, close, but shadows lurked just beneath the surface. "Gather round, love," she said, her voice a gentle supplication. "Tonight, we seek divine guidance." Just as they clasped hands, the air shifted. A telegram, old and yellowed, slipped through the door, landing like a messenger from heaven. Written in a spidery hand, it claimed to contain wisdom from the lips of Jesus himself, the 33 miraculous steps to divine enlightenment, a roadmap leading to transformation for those bold enough to embrace it. Gasps of wonder echoed through the room. Was this a sign? A beckoning from the Almighty? As they read through the channeled words, the telegram pulsed with luminous energy, illuminating the corners of the room. Miraculous stories began to swirl in the village like fresh leaves caught in a warm breeze. One by one, the faithful of the parish began to report astonishing occurrences, healings that defied medical rationale, families reconciling after years of bitterness, and even an elder miraculously restored from his ailing state. Hope blossomed, entwining itself in every heart. It felt like the divine presence was wrapping around their little village, reawakening spirits long fallen into despair. But there stood David, with furrowed brows, skeptical as ever. The very science that fed his intellect battled fiercely against the faith that nourished his mother. While Agnes fervently rallied the villagers to embark on the prophetic steps, David scoffed at the idea of miracles. "There's always a rational explanation, Mum," he'd say, grounding her lofty aspirations in cold, hard facts. Yet with each miraculous tale, Agnes's heart swelled, the warmth of her conviction igniting. Could faith bridge the gap between them? Before long, however, the winds shifted. A fever took hold of David, darker and more insidious than she could have imagined. Doctors were stumped, and hope grew thin. The shadow of doubt crept into Agnes's heart, chilling her spirit, reminding her of her son's skepticism. Is this truly the path to divine enlightenment? She whispered in desperation amidst the flickering candlelight, "Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue, as Agnes plunged deeper into the 33 steps, praying with fervent sincerity, her resolve hardened. The communal warmth sheltered her as they interwove faith and fervency, but doubts rattled inside her, much like the echo of distant storms. Hearts around her whispered words of hope, though it began to feel futile against David's declining spirit. Just when despair threatened to smother her, an event of celestial wonder gripped the village the night the heavens opened, pouring silvery light onto silent streets. In that sacred moment, when every heart held its breath, Agnes felt the chill slip away. Her prayers echoed louder than any doubt as a warmth enveloped David. The air sang with unity, a divine presence wrapping around them in a cascade of transcendence, with the whole village gathered. All eyes turned towards the young man, and the unanswered question loomed: could salvation arise from the depths of despair? As they held their breath, Agnes could hardly believe the dawn of a miracle was about to break over them. A hush fell over the crowd, a tangible sense of anticipation wrapping around them like a soft cloak. Agnes felt every heartbeat echoing in the silence, the rhythmic pulse of hope mixing with trepidation. David lay there, pale but undeniably alive, his eyes fluttering beneath closed lids. Could this be the moment when faith would triumph over doubt? As the silvery light shone brighter, it illuminated his face, casting shadows that danced with whispers of hope. Agnes pressed closer, feeling the warmth emanating from beyond, surrounding them in a vibrant embrace. She squeezed her husband's hand tightly. "Let's pray," she urged, her voice trembling with emotion. In unison, the villagers began to chant prayers of healing, the vibrations rising like fragrant incense towards the heavens. "Saint Jude, guide us. Jesus, we beseech you." The words wove together, forming a tapestry of faith that enveloped the very air they breathed. In that moment, Agnes recalled the first step of the telegram, the act of surrender. She closed her eyes, entrusting her son's fate to the divine. Suddenly, David stirred. With a deep intake of breath, his eyes shot open, revealing a bewilderment that sent a ripple of gasps through the congregation. Agnes felt the air charged with electric energy, as if the heavens themselves were listening. "Mum," he croaked, his voice barely above a whisper. "David!" Agnes cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. The warmth of the light flickered gently around him, kindling hope deep within her soul. He shifted slightly, gazing into the eyes of his mother, then up at the sea of faces staring back, a sea filled with both concern and reverence. "What happened?" he faltered, struggling to sit up. Agnes helped him with tender hands, the others edging closer, their faces washed in a glow of divine assurance. "You were ill, love. We've been praying for you." Though hesitant, the clarity in David's eyes hinted at a dawning understanding. Fear melted into curiosity as he glanced around, noticing the intensity of the gathering, the hands clasped, the gratitude overflowing. The air was thick with expectations, as though prayer itself were a tangible entity. "Agnes, I heard something," he said, bewilderment giving way to burgeoning wonder. It felt warm. Like he paused, his brow furrowing. Like love. But not just any love, a compelling love. I thought I was dreaming." A gentle breeze stirred through the gathering, carrying the scent of autumn leaves intermingled with something sweeter. It felt, for an inexplicable moment, as if the divine presence had descended upon them, breathing life and purpose into their hearts. Agnes's spirit soared, filling the gaps of doubt that only days ago had threatened to drown her faith. "Love is powerful, David," she responded, her voice steady now with renewed strength. "It is the purest form of divine light. You have touched it, we all have. Together, we can walk in faith." As Maria, a kind elder of the village, stepped forward to raise her arms towards the sky, the echoes of joyous laughter bubbled up from the gathered crowd. "A miracle, indeed. God has shown his light." But suddenly, an uneasy silence crept back in. A tension lingered in the air as David stared into the depths of those radiant faces, watching him with a mixture of faith and fear. "But what does this mean for me? What does it mean for us? What does God want?" The question hung there, a poignant reminder that faith, though unwavering, often dances alongside unanswered queries. Agnes's brow furrowed, the weight of the world crashing down again. What was their next step? And could she guide her son through the mysterious challenge lying ahead? As the moonlight bathed them in soft illumination, a new wave of realization dawned upon Agnes. Could this be the start of something bigger than they could ever imagine, a path that demanded deeper trust, greater understanding, and the courage to seek beyond what was visible? And just like that, the flickering candles dimmed, but the questions ignited brighter than ever before. What awaited them in their quest for divine enlightenment? Agnes looked deeply into David's eyes, feeling the weight of their shared journey pressing upon her. She sensed a stirring within him, a flicker of the divine that had awakened not just him, but the whole community. People were watching, each heart beating as one, driven by a desire for understanding and a longing for revelation. "What does it mean?" David repeated, his voice steadier, yet the question lingered like a shadow. It was a curious mix of fear and hope. Agnes felt his uncertainty echoing her own. As much as she wanted to shield him, she understood that this was a crucial moment, a stepping stone into faith or a retreat into doubt. "Perhaps," she began slowly, "it means that we are being called to something greater." The words hung in the air, heavy with potential. Maybe God is asking us to trust Him in ways we haven't before, to step into the unknown with hearts full of courage. The villagers shifted closer, drawn in by her voice, her conviction igniting something deep within them, too. They were explorers on a shared quest for answers, vessels of hope ready to embark on a journey that would transform them all. With each passing moment, a wave of energy rolled through Agnes, weaving itself through the crowd like threads of a tapestry. The prayers had been heard, and faith had taken a breath of life. "Look around us, David," she urged, gesturing toward those who stood enraptured. "We are not just a collection of hearts. We are family, bound by faith. And if God is with us, we can face anything ahead." David's brow lifted slightly, his expression one of dawning realization. He looked around, absorbing the warmth of those gathered neighbors, friends, even strangers, all bound together in this moment of divine awakening. "You're right, our journey is connected." As he spoke, Agnes felt a renewal of strength within her. It wasn't just David's journey, it was hers and the community's as they gathered together for collective courage. Each gaze turned toward the heavens, each outstretched hand cradling the power that surged through the night. "Can we break through this veil of uncertainty?" David asked, the eagerness in his voice bringing fresh hope. Each prayer uttered, each moment of vulnerability shared, did indeed draw back the curtains of clarity a tiny bit more. "Yes," Agnes replied, her voice steady and vibrant, echoing her faith in God's unfolding plan. "But we must be open to the signs. We need to listen, to discern what lies ahead. It won't always be easy, but it will be worth it." As they spoke, the moon painted silver streaks across the crowd, and a soft breeze danced around them, carrying with it the promises of more to come. In that moment, Agnes thought about the telegram that had brought them here, the first thread of faith woven into their lives. "Remember the message," Agnes added, her gaze locking onto David's. "Nothing is impossible for God. If we can trust Him for our healing, how much more can we trust Him for the journey ahead?" A ripple of agreement surged through the crowd. Devotions intertwined, hearts beat as one, steeping into a profound stillness filled with boundless hope. Suddenly, a distant rumble of thunder echoed in the sky, breaking the serenity. The villagers exchanged glances, the air heavy with anticipation once more. It was as if nature itself was anointed, echoing their requests. "What does that sound mean?" Maria whispered, her voice barely audible amidst the electric tension. "I don't know," David admitted, eyes wide with wonder. "But I feel like something significant is approaching." The crowd held their breath, a collective spirit rising, drawing them together under the unfurling possibilities. As Agnes stared into the darkening sky, her heart raced with anticipation. "Stay vigilant," she urged. "Now is the time to prepare our hearts." A flicker of what lay ahead sparkled just beyond the horizon, a beckoning call to uncover the mysteries woven into their faith. This was just the beginning of something grander, a divine path unfolding before them. What came next? They would soon find themselves at a crossroads that would demand even deeper faith than they ever imagined. The rumble in the sky grew closer, resonating like a heartbeat, a rhythm that matched the pulse of the crowd gathering around Agnes and David. Waves of electric anticipation bounded through the air. The villagers felt it too, that stirring inside, like a chorus of angels whispering of hope and transformation. Agnes raised her hands, her voice ringing out over the tension. "We are on the brink of understanding. This thunder is not merely a sound, it's a reminder of God's presence among us. He is here, reminding us that He holds the power to move mountains." Electricity crackled around them as the villagers exchanged glances filled with a mix of reverence and fiery eagerness. Agnes could feel the weight of expectation not only from herself but reflected in the eyes of those around her. They were standing on the edge of something magnificent, a moment that felt woven by the hand of the divine. "What does it mean?" David's eyes searched the faces of their neighbors, each one radiating an unusual energy. "Are we really called to something greater?" "Yes," Agnes exclaimed, finding her footing in the shared anticipation. "These sounds are a signal. A divine pulse urging us to move beyond our fears and embrace our purpose. Her heart swelled as she spoke, and somehow the very air felt infused with sacred intent. As the thunder rolled overhead, the clouds split momentarily, revealing streaks of brilliant light that cut through darkness. "Look!" a voice called from the back of the crowd. They turned collectively, eyes wide, as beams of light cascaded like waterfalls from the heavens, illuminating the village square. Or reverberated through them, a silent collective prayer echoing into the celestial void. "What is happening?" Maria breathed, excitement threaded with apprehension. David stepped forward, his spirit ignited. "It's a sign. God is affirming our journey, revealing that we are not alone. The light shows us the way." Agnes nodded fervently, feeling emboldened by his words. "Let us reach higher, friends. This is a moment to ask for clarity. We must invite the Holy Spirit to guide us through the unknown." The villagers gathered tightly in a circle as faith enveloped them like warm blankets on a winter night. In that tender embrace, they began to pray together, voices rising like incense to fill the air. "Lord, show us the way," they implored, hearts and minds uniting in a sacred dance of devotion. The thunder cracked again, and Agnes closed her eyes, picturing a pathway illuminated before them, the 33 steps to divine enlightenment they sought. Each step wouldn't just be an act of faith, it would be a revelation, a chapter in their shared story of transformation. "Imagine." Agnes spoke softly, her voice weaving tenderly through the prayers. "What if this thunder is the sound of heaven calling you to new beginnings? Each vibration urging us toward deeper faith and understanding." Even as the thunder resounded, there was a profound peace settling upon them, merging with their hopes and dreams. David opened his eyes, glimmering with inspiration. What if we're not only seeking for ourselves but for those who come after us? Those who will need these miraculous steps to find their own paths. "Yes." The villagers echoed, their conviction swelling like tides of faith, rising inexorably toward an unseen shore. Agnes felt the unity, the bond of shared purpose strengthened. They were all threads in a grand tapestry being woven by God's own hand. "As we move forward," she encouraged, "let us remember, faith is not just belief, it is action. Let us be prepared to follow wherever God leads us next." Suddenly, just as the night sky erupted in another deep rumble, the air shifted. A presence enveloped them, an unmistakable wave of love and assurance. Hearts trembled in willingness, eyes fixed ahead, yearning to discover what awaited them in the unfolding mystery. There, in the middle of it all, whispered a question that hung heavy with promise: what transformation will come when we fully surrender to His will? Are we ready to take those steps into the unknown? A hush fell gently over the gathering as Agnes opened her eyes, feeling the collective breath of the village held in sacred anticipation. She sensed the stillness of the moment, the power of their intention hovered like mist around them, delicate yet profoundly tangible. "Friends, do you feel it?" she asked, her voice quivering with the intensity of it all. "This is no ordinary night. We are being called to something extraordinary." David looked around, taking in the hopeful faces lit by the fading light of day as it surrendered to twilight. "It's as if the very heavens are inviting us to step into our divine purpose," he added, feeling the weight of his own words as they clung to the air. The last vestiges of sunlight melted into the horizon, the thunder clapped again, echoing in the distance like a celestial drum signaling a new dawn. "Let us honor this moment," Agnes urged, raising her hands once more. "Let us create a circle filled with love, faith, and gratitude." Hand in hand, the villagers formed a ring, united in their resolve. As they bowed their heads, each person offered silent prayers. Some prayers spoke of dreams yet realized, others carried the burden of fears and heartaches. Agnes could almost hear the heartbeats of her neighbors, a rhythm pulsing with hope. "Let us pray for visions," she said gently, her words wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. "Let the Holy Spirit reveal what these steps mean for each of us, what it means to walk in faith as one body, one family seeking the light." Then, amidst their prayers, a soft breeze began to swirl gently through the square, carrying with it the fresh aroma of earth and dew, a promise of renewal. The villagers looked up, eyes wide with wonder, as the clouds parted once more, revealing a tapestry of stars, twinkling like diamonds scattered upon velvet. "Peace," David whispered, feeling it settle around them. "This is his peace, truth illuminating our path." As they gazed into the endless expanse, Agnes spoke again, her voice steady. "Look upon the stars. Each one shines with the light of God's purpose. Just as these stars are fixed in the sky, we too have a place in His divine design." Suddenly, a bright shooting star traced across the skyline, disappearing into the depths of night. Gasps of awe filled the air. David seized the moment, raising his voice with fervor. "Did you see that? What if that star is a sign of hope for our journey ahead? A sign that we are not only seekers but bearers of His light?" The villagers murmured their agreement, hearts pounding with excitement. Agnes felt her spirit soar. "Yes. Let us carry this light into our lives. Let us embody faith as we walk together through the 33 steps. Let each step be rooted in love and faith, propelling us into the unknown." As they shared their dreams and visions aloud, spirits lifted bruised and weary hearts, weaving threads of hope. Each insight offered became a brick in the path they would forge together. They dared to ask what transformation might unveil itself as they walked boldly into the light. A sense of urgency filled the air, intermingling with love and devotion. Yet, an undercurrent of mystery remained, a question still unuttered but lingering in the spaces between their words. Will we have the courage to embrace change? Can we stand firm in faith, knowing that the divine journey ahead promises to reshape not just us, but all who witness it? In the gathering silence, they felt the weight of their collective promise. And even as the night deepened, they understood the adventure had just begun. What awaited them at the end of the 33 steps? The answer shimmered like those distant stars, a wondrous mystery yet to unfold. A deep breath seemed to ripple through the assembled villagers, a sacred pause that held a promise. The stars shone brighter now, as if leaning in to hear the words that flowed from Agnes's lips. "We must focus our hearts. We are stepping into a season of transformation." As she spoke, an energy stirred among them. David could feel it, a warm glow spreading through the circle. What does it mean to walk in faith together? He pondered aloud. How do we prepare ourselves for the changes ahead? Each face reflected a mosaic of hope and wonder. With every heartbeat, the echo of their unified spirit grew louder. They knew they were on the brink of something extraordinary. The 33 steps awaited them, full of lessons intertwined with divine grace. "We begin with trust," Agnes declared, her voice rising above the gentle night. "Trust that we are never alone. Trust that every step we take leads us closer to His light." The villagers nodded, feeling a wave of assurance wash over them. A few whispered prayers of trust into the night, their words mingling with the cool breeze. "Let us remember," David added, "trust often requires letting go. We must release our doubts and fears." Agnes's heart swelled. "Indeed. It's what we're meant to do. As we walk the path of the 33 steps, we will face challenges. Yet the same God who creates wonders in the heavens is with us each step of the way." Just then, as if responding to their declaration, a single star flickered and flared brightly above them. A hush fell over the gathering once more, eyes turning upward, hearts aligned with the divine moment. Agnes closed her eyes, feeling the light flood her spirit. How often do we let the fear of the unknown shackle our faith? Tonight, we choose to break those chains. We choose to believe that within vulnerability lies strength. David retorted, "What if the unknown is where His greatest miracles lie? The world needs our faith now more than ever." Inspired by his words, the villagers began to share their own stories openly. One by one, they spoke of the fears that had held them back, releasing them into the air like autumn leaves on a brisk wind. "I'd been afraid to speak my truth," one woman confessed, her voice shaking. "But tonight, I embrace that fear. I will share my voice." Another, a young man with bright eyes, added, "I have been hesitant to step into my calling. But now I feel it no longer will I be confined by my insecurities. I choose to serve. Each testimony added fuel to the fire of their faith. There was a tangible shift, a drinking in of divine resolve. Agnes felt the air sparkle, charged with newfound courage and awakening purpose. Together, we will rise. Together, we will shine. As the night progressed, the stars transformed into a canopy of encouragement, witnessing their dedication. With every step they embraced, every fear released, the promise of what lay ahead grew clearer. But in that brilliance, another question loomed, weaving through their hearts: what awaits us at the end of these 33 steps? Will we recognize ourselves in the light of transformation? Or will we find something deeper than we ever imagined? The stars twinkled in agreement, holding the secrets of their journey aloft. The air shimmered with divine excitement, leaving behind a haunting mystery that wrapped around their gathered souls. As they stood together, the air filled with anticipation, David felt a pulse of divine energy radiating through the gathering. He looked around at the faces of his neighbors, each illuminated by a flickering light of hope. This is just the beginning, he thought, but how much further can we go together? Agnes sensed the gravity of this moment. With gentle authority, she began to guide their focus. Let us embrace the first step. It begins with gratitude. Her voice was steady, calming. Let us give thanks for what we have, for the lessons, the trials, and the blessings. The villagers closed their eyes, allowing the warm night air to wrap around them like a comforting embrace. One by one, the whispers of gratitude began to emerge. Thank you for my family, thank you for my home, thank you for the food on my table. The words flowed freely, rising like a chorus toward the heavens. David felt his heart swell. Gratitude opened doors he hadn't known existed. What about the struggles? He thought. Are they not part of the journey too? Agnes sensed his unspoken question. Even the trials, dear friends, carry gifts hidden in their shadows, she said, and the villagers leaned in closer, as if she were pulling back a veil. When we thank God for our challenges, we transform them into stepping stones. Each struggle can lead us closer to Him. A young girl, holding her grandmother's hand, spoke softly, I was scared when my father lost his job. But I've learned to pray more. I learned that God's love never leaves us. Such wisdom. Agnes affirmed with a beaming smile. It takes courage to see God's hand at work, especially during dark times. And it's through these moments that He refines us. We grow stronger in faith. As the villagers shared, they began to notice a light stirring in their midst. A gentle glow danced above, pulsing in rhythm with their hearts. David gasped as he pointed. Do you see that? He had never witnessed anything so beautiful. Their eyes widened, hope bubbling forth. It's His presence. A voice echoed, igniting a wave of awe. The light flickered and shifted, illuminating their surroundings like a divine lantern. Agnes raised her hands, guiding them into a collective posture of reception. We must open ourselves fully. We must allow this transformation to touch every aspect of our lives. Are we ready to let God's light in? Yes. Came the enthusiastic reply from every corner of the circle. Then let us move to the second step, acceptance. Agnes continued, exhilarated by the surge of energy. We must accept ourselves as we are, flaws and all. Only then can we embrace the grace that follows. Acceptance washed over them like a warm tide, soothing their insecurities and regrets. They realized how powerful it was to recognize their humanity, their imperfections. David felt a warmth spreading through him, a cleansing of sorts. In that moment, he understood, acceptance was not resignation but a liberation that would carry him forward. Lord, I accept my journey, he prayed quietly. Guide my steps. As their voices merged in an uplifting melody of acceptance, the light above began to swirl, growing more vibrant with their collective faith. It was a reminder that they were each a vital part of this greater tapestry God was weaving, but as the luminescence intensified, a question lingered in the air: how far were they willing to go on this sacred quest? Would they dare to embrace the challenges waiting in the following steps? The shimmering light pulsed softly, inviting them deeper into their journey, as their hearts beat in unison, each member of the village poised at the edge of transformation. The pulsating light began to shift colors, bathing the villagers in shades of gold and silver, a reflection of their shared hopes. Agnes, her eyes sparkling with divine fire, felt the energy envelop them in a cocoon of warmth. Now, let us journey to the third step, surrender. She declared, her voice resonating through the stillness. David's breath caught in his throat. Surrender. The word echoed in his mind like a bell. It held fear, uncertainty, and ultimately, faith. But what does it mean to surrender completely to God? He thought, grappling with the weight of this step. The congregation held their breath, engaging in a collective contemplation. Agnes sensed their hesitation and continued, surrender isn't a weakness. It is the ultimate show of strength. When we let go of our need to control everything, we allow God's grace to flow freely. A man from the outskirts of the circle stepped forward, his voice trembling. I've fought this for so long. I wanted to fix things in my own way. But I've seen that my plans lead to despair. He looked at Agnes, fear shining in his eyes. How do we trust the Lord when everything feels broken? Agnes stepped closer, her presence a balm to his wounds. That's where faith steps in. Remember, the Lord sees the whole picture. We see only fragments. Can you imagine the masterpiece he is painting with the strokes of your struggles? The villagers nodded, uncertainty shifting into something more hopeful. As they closed their eyes again, an unexpected sound broke the silence, a gentle rustle as if the wind itself was joyfully responding. The atmosphere crackled with energy, and the light above shifted into a bright white, casting away the shadows of doubt. Let us release all burdens. Agnes exclaimed. Take a moment. Think of the things you need to let go: fear, pain, anxiety. Place them into God's hands. Breathe in His peace, and surrender. One by one, the villagers opened their hearts, releasing their worries, their fears, their tightly held desires. I let go of my bitterness, one voice called out. I release my need to be right, another said, their tone lightening. David followed suit, his heart beating faster. I surrender my ambitions, Lord. Take them away if they are not part of your plan. He felt a release, a sensation like a heavy weight being lifted. At that moment, the light above surged brighter, enveloping them all in its embrace. It was as if the very heavens acknowledged their submission. The joy was palpable, shoulders relaxed, faces softened. The sacred energy flowed freely, knitting them together as a community. Feel the change, Agnes urged gently. This is the divine exchange. Now that we have surrendered, we can move into the next step, action. God calls us to step forward in faith. The villagers exchanged glances filled with amazement. The challenges ahead loomed large, yet they felt strangely empowered. Could they really take action together? They had united their hearts, and in that unison was rising a collective courage stronger than the individual fears that had shackled them before. As the light sparkled above them in a dance of divine presence, David felt hope igniting within. The next step beckoned, and with it, a new challenge. What bold actions would they take? How would they embrace faith in their everyday lives? It was a question that hung in the air like fresh dew, waiting to be answered, and even as their hearts brimmed with anticipation, a truth lingered: the journey had only just begun. As the villagers stood in the radiant glow, a stillness enveloped them, stillness tinged with anticipation and a brush of the sacred. Agnes felt the electric energy calming the space, inviting each heart to align with the rhythm of the divine. Now, she breathed, her voice a soft whisper, we must prepare for action. We shall step forth, not in our own strength, but in the strength of the one who carries us. David sensed the shift, the tension in the air transforming into something potent, like the moments before a storm breaks, full of promise and uncertainty. What does this look like? He pondered, glancing at his neighbors, faces glimmering with both resolve and anxiety. Agnes began to speak again, her words weaving a tapestry of encouragement. Action flows from faith. When we trust, we then take steps that might seem foolish to the world. But God delights in our faith-filled actions. Remember Peter? He stepped out onto the water, defying reality. There is power in moving forward, even when the path is unclear. A ripple of understanding washed over the villagers. They were not just mere participants in a ceremony, they were being called to become vessels of His love and light. One woman, a mother whose eyes held a well of tears, raised her hand tentatively. But what if I fail? What if I step out and nothing happens? Agnes smiled warmly. Fear not. Failure is a stepping stone, not an endpoint. Think of the great lessons woven into those moments when we feel we have faltered. Each attempt is a brushstroke in our masterwork. God isn't looking for perfection, He desires your heart, your willingness to act even amidst fear. With those words hanging in the air, the atmosphere seemed to thrum with divine encouragement. David closed his eyes, feeling a gentle nudge within his spirit. What could he do? The impossible situations around the village flooded his mind, each one begging for a response, a miracle to unfold. Let us share our visions, Agnes encouraged. What can we do together? Voices began to rise, hesitant at first, but growing louder with each shared dream. We must plant a community garden, one elder proclaimed. To feed the hungry. Let us reach out to our neighbors, another chimed in. Share our stories, break down walls. David's heart raced as he felt their passion. I can organize youth gatherings to uplift our young ones. The words spilled out before he could hold them back, and as he spoke, a fire ignited within him, banishing the doubts that had lingered. Oh, how the light above pulsed in rhythm with their aspirations. It swirled like a kaleidoscope, ever shifting yet beautifully cohesive. Each idea stirred the spirits around him, igniting dreams that seemed impossible moments before. We are being transformed, Agnes whispered, her gaze sweeping over the circle. This is a divine awakening. When we act in faith, heaven intervenes on our behalf. Just then, the soft rustle of the wind swept through the gathering like a loving embrace, carrying with it whispers of reassurance. The villagers looked around, awe spreading across their faces. They were becoming part of a beautiful renewal, turning simple dreams into divine visions. David absorbed the moment deeply, overwhelmed with gratitude. This is our call, he thought. This is our moment to rise. Yet, as hope coursed through him, uncertainty also lingered. With each bold step came the question, would they have the courage to follow through? As the light began to shimmer even more intensely above them, illuminating their collective purpose, he couldn't help but wonder what obstacles they would face on this narrow path towards action, and in that soft glow, a heavy truth descended. Was this indeed the moment of their breakthrough, or merely a glimmer of what was yet to come? How would they forge ahead, united in faith, amidst the trials that awaited? The villagers stood on the brink of a profound transformation, ready to take the plunge. What awaited them on the other side of action? In the stillness of that divine night, the air shimmered around Agnes and the villagers, filled with an anticipation thicker than fog. David stood at the crossroads of faith and doubt, feeling an impending shift as Agnes ready to guide them into the next step of their journey. Tonight is more than just words, she declared, her voice echoing through the quiet, which seemed to amplify every heartbeat. It is the dawning of a new chapter. The villagers leaned in, their breaths mingling with hope. This is our pivotal moment, dear friends. Agnes continued. We are called to act to show the world the love and light that are within us all. A collective light glowed brighter as each person recognized the urgency pulsing in their hearts. Faith without action is like a candle hidden under a bowl, Agnes said, her eyes sparkling, and tonight, we shall shine brightly. Let us forge ahead into the next steps. A hush fell over the crowd as if the universe awaited their response. David felt his spirit tremble, it was time to rise. He took a deep breath and stepped forward, fueled by a dawning revelation. Together, we can ignite change, he announced, a sheen of fervor in his voice. Our actions can bring hope where despair lingers. Love can bind us. A ripple of agreement washed through the gathering, spurring them into action. Maria, the kind elder, stepped forward with conviction. Let us share our gifts. We have talents to bless each other: music, compassion, wisdom. Let us open our hearts. David felt his chest swell with warmth. And let us not forget our service. We can lend a hand to those who need it most. Local shelters, families struggling, children lost. Let us embody our faith through deeds. With growing enthusiasm, the villagers began to voice their ideas and intentions, an orchestra of faith strumming the chords of love. We need to create a support network. Someone chimed. A place where we can gather and lift each other. Another added, a prayer group to intercede for those in need. As their dreams unfolded like petals before the dawn, Agnes felt an unwavering energy enveloping them. Each step begins within us, she reminded them. Let our faith spill over. As we act in unity, miracles unfold. Then David expressed a thought that stirred the room. Let us plan a community event, a celebration of faith. A day to share our miracles and experiences, to embrace those we haven't met. The excitement was infectious, and plans began to take root. Agnes beamed, her heart full of gratitude. With each promise exchanged, the light above intensified, swirling with joy as the heavens rejoiced in their eagerness to embrace action. A gentle breeze carried blessings, wrapping around them, urging their hearts onward. What might happen when we allow ourselves to be the hands and feet of Christ? Agnes contemplated aloud, eyes shining like the stars above. Will we not witness the transformation we seek? I believe we will. Someone shouted, their faith so vibrant it reverberated through the crowd. The collective excitement reached a crescendo, but in that moment of joy, a shadow swept through David's heart. A twinge of fear crept back in. What if we falter? He questioned himself, wrestling with the unknown. Agnes, sensing his hesitation, stepped close and whispered, remember this, love, our greatest strength lies not in perfection but in vulnerability. It's okay to feel afraid, but we must lean into that fear together. The crowd murmured in agreement, strength reverberating through their spirits. David nodded slowly, grounding himself in the warmth of shared faith. He understood now that their path was not just about action, it was about love, about choosing to step out, no matter how daunting. In surrender, Agnes continued, her voice strong yet gentle, we find our power. As we embark on this journey, let it be an offering of love, trust, and vulnerability. With renewed resolve, David lifted his chin, feeling the embrace of the village behind him. We will not be perfect, but we will be willing. We will walk the 33 steps with hearts alive, and together, we will witness the miraculous in ourselves and in others. The villagers roared back, yes. Together. They clasped hands tighter, creating a circle of unity that felt unbreakable. Then, from the depths of the night sky, a brilliant shooting star blazed across the heavens. Gasps tore through the congregation as they watched in awe. Was this a sign? Hope overflowing, their spirits soared. Look! One woman pointed, her voice trembling with excitement. It's a blessing from above. Laughter mingled with tears of joy, this divine sign igniting fervor in their hearts. Our faith is rising. Each act we take will ripple through this village. This is our journey. Agnes exclaimed, her voice resonating with truth. As they stood together, hand in hand, the universe felt alive with the thrill of potential. They understood that their next steps would be filled with challenges, but also boundless grace. They were ready. Are you prepared to step into your purpose? Agnes asked, her eyes shining bright. Yes. They answered collectively, voices raised like a chorus of angels. This is the moment. Agnes proclaimed, lifting her hands to the sky. A journey begins. Together, we will walk the path to divine enlightenment. Fervor surged within them, love pulsed like a heartbeat. The light above flickered with sacred energy, shimmering with promise. David felt the shift in his spirit, fear transformed into courage, doubt into conviction. As they turned to face the dawn of their incredible journey, the first rays of sunlight brushed the horizon, heralding the beginning of something extraordinary. The 33 steps awaited, lined with divine purpose, and together, they would step boldly into the light, and so, they embraced the challenge ahead, hearts ignited, faith unwavering, ready to claim the miraculous transformation that awaited them. This is your moment to act. Subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that can inspire your journey. Leave a like now to fuel this message. Your support matters. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending. And share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this divine manifestation. Don't wait even one more second. Stand with us, for only true servants of God understand the importance of spreading His light.